In an absolutely massive announcement this morning, January 20th, 2026, 3 days after announcing the Electro 7, Nord has announced the Electro 7 will in fact ship with a mod and pitch wheel. We did it. Put in the crowd noise. We did it, everybody. Yes. Yes. Let's get into it. My name's Andre Bernier, and today we are going to be talking about the Nord Electro 7 yet again. So here's where I want to start this video. It was never my intention in making the last video that I put out, which is entitled The Nord Electro 7 Doesn't Make Sense. It was never my intention to put down Nord. And there were some people in the comments dancing a little bit too hard on top of Nord, saying things like, oh, you know, the value isn't there and other keyboards do what it does for a fraction of the price. And the most egregious one to me is when people say, people only played Nord because of the stature. They just want the red keyboard on stage, which is, it's offensive. That's a reductive way of looking at things. I think to say that, you know, I just went to Sweetwater and sorted by most expensive and put whatever that was in my cart sort of ignores the fact that maybe Nord has a bunch of features on them that set them head and shoulders apart from other companies, in my opinion. I love Nord, and I will always be in their ecosystem to some extent. They're the only keyboards that I play. This video is gonna bother some people because I'm flip-flopping in 3 days, and that's okay. You can be annoyed if you want. Fact of the matter is, I'm not really changing any of my opinions. I've always believed Nords are better than other keyboards. I just thought as the price rose and we got side grades instead of upgrades, yeah, there was something of an issue with the Electro line. However, undeniably, pitch and mod wheel now are a major upgrade. And they improved the other upgrades, the synth section, by magnitudes. So we're gonna get into it, but the Electro 7 is starting to make sense to me. It doesn't fit quite where the old Electros fit, in my opinion, and I'll get into that as well, but it is starting to make sense as a standalone product that is the baby brother to the Stage 4. So I said Nord makes the greatest keyboards. I actually started on Yamaha. That's the world that I came from. I had an M08 and I gigged with that for years, but I mean, the thing was gigantic and all the effects were hidden behind submenus and the organ was clunky, not to mention the B3 was borderline unusable with the Leslie simulation, but like, I mean, you couldn't even do drawbars and whatnot. And while Yamaha has addressed a lot of this, I still find that you really have to know what you're doing in order to operate it. And I think with Nord, everything's a little more on the front and obvious. Now, there was an analogy that was getting thrown around a lot in the last comment section, and I actually quite liked it. It's this: all other keyboard manufacturers are kind of trying to be Microsoft, which is, we give you all these options, we give you all of these decisions that you yourself can make, and here's hundreds of pianos, and here's all these choices, right? Anything that you want, you can get. You want 7 synth engines at the base level price, you can get that. Nord has never been trying to do that. Nord has always tried to be Apple, which is to say, they are making decisions for you, but those decisions are letting you make less decisions more effectively. All that is to say, they're not giving you hundreds of pianos. Most people have probably 12 to 20, but they know each of those pianos intimately. And let's face it, even if you play Yamaha, you don't use hundreds of pianos. You probably use 12 to 20 pianos every time. So most of those just sit unused on your board for no reason. They also have everything laid out very obviously on the front. There's no hidden submenus. There's no like, well, you got to go behind this to get to thus and such. I guess the new envelopes on the Stage 4 for synth section kind of do that. But honestly, that's what's so confusing about it to me. Like the fact that you have to push a button at all for that kind of goes against the ethos that Nord normally has, which is why I praise them for the new envelope design on the Electro 7. So we can see this 3-knob design, I think, is much more elegant. Well done, Nord. But I think the other place that the Microsoft Apple analogy gets correct is Apple charges as a borderline luxury product, right? They're making all these choices for you. It's all very sleek, it's very streamlined, but they're charging more for that ecosystem that they've put together so well and for those decisions that they've made for you. Yamaha and Microsoft, on the other hand, are saying, no, we'll give you the most computing power we can at the least price possible. You do with it what you do. The thing is, the Apple model works really well for creative types until they start making decisions that you disagree with. And then all of a sudden, you're stranded in this ecosystem where you have no ability to mod anything and you have no ability to adjust anything because these choices are already made for you. And you're stuck paying this extremely high price point for maybe less features than you could get on something like a Yamaha or a Microsoft computer. But here's like an example of that. You remember when Apple removed all the USB ports from the side of their laptops for like no reason? And they were like, this is the future, look how sleek it looks. And everyone was really unhappy with that because that didn't improve the user experience. That to me is what the pitch stick thing is. The pitch stick is a thing that just like USB ports should be there. It's just a baseline. It's not like, oh, how luxurious. It's just like, no, this is like a part of a computer or a keyboard. The pitch stick has to be there if you have a synth component to it. It just does. And so when Apple added the USB ports back, were we all like, great job, Apple? Kind of, but we were also just kind of like, yeah, dude, it kind of should have been there in the first place, especially for like a $2,000 laptop, you know? Apple, Microsoft, Nord, Yamaha. Of course, there are always going to be lower price competitors, but that does not mean that Nord doesn't have a thing that they do and a thing that they do really well. And Nord, much as Apple has always had a luxury component, I think Nord has firmly now cemented themselves as the luxury keyboard manufacturer. They wouldn't see it that way, I'm sure. Let's call it premium instead of luxury because of the negative connotations of luxury. I just think that, you know, undeniably, there are a lot of aspects to this keyboard that are not made with cost-saving measures and are made purposefully with the idea that, okay, this is the high end of the market. The Nord Electro 7 is starting to make sense now, to me, because it's not a budget keyboard. And Electro has been the budget keyboard in times past. The Electro 6 was a budget keyboard. When I got that for $2,200, that's a ton of money, but it's not 6K. But now at the 3.3K to 4K market, the Electro is starting to make more sense to me. The fact that we have a synth engine at all on there now is massive. We have a synth engine on there now with a pitch and mod wheel, which by the way, I consider that to be one whole thing. Without the pitch and mod wheel, you get like 50, I'll say 30% of the full capabilities of a synth engine. With a pitch and mod wheel, you get 100% of the capabilities of a synth engine. So awesome. Now we officially have an actual dedicated synth engine on this keyboard. That's fantastic. As an upgrade from the Electro 6, there's a real case to be made for having full analog, I mean digital analog, but analog synthesis modeling capabilities with a full pitch stick and mod wheel on the Electro 7, 73, as well as HP 73. That actually does make a big difference. Furthermore, we're talking about the premium side of things. There are wooden end cheeks on this, which is something that I don't see pretty much any other manufacturer doing like to the level that Nord does it. And this is purely cosmetic. They could take this off for cost saving, but they haven't. I still do appreciate it. It does elevate the instrument. It makes you feel like you're playing a real instrument and not just a metal box, because that's a little depressing. I don't know. Full metal construction. This board is extremely high quality metal. And yes, other boards are made of metal, but I promise this thing can take some dents. My Nords have flown around the world with me, including my Electro 6D has flown around the world with me, and it holds up. It holds up to a lot of different scenarios. You could drop it and probably be okay, which is not necessarily the case with other things. And I said in the last video that I'd like to see a lower cost alternative to the pitch and mod wheel, perhaps just a more traditional system like you'd see on any Moog. They've decided to give us the exact same pitch and mod wheel setup that they keep on their Stage 4, which is pretty much exactly what I said in the video too, which is that they'd rather do it their way or not do it at all. Well, they're doing it their way, and it's kind of hard to fault them on that. Honestly, it's impressive to put a wooden pitch stick on your second tier of keyboards. And again, like I said, it justifies the synth section even existing. One of the most fascinating parts of this entire saga has been the fact that the 61 key will not get the pitch and mod wheel, which leads me to an issue I didn't address in the last video, but it's the second board conundrum. If you're going to bring a secondary keyboard to a gig for extra sounds, right? Let's say synths or strings or, you know, horns, whatever. 61 key is the perfect size for a secondary board. And so you'd think that they'd want the pitch and mod wheel on that board in the first place because they'd sell a lot of keyboards as secondary boards. It's just odd to me. I don't totally get what their idea is with that, keeping it off the 61, but I'm sure there's some kind of dollars and cents figure where they say if we put the pitch bend on that, we just can't, you know, it doesn't make sense financially. But odd, that's an odd omission. However, flowers where flowers are due. 2 out of 3 boards for the Electro lineup will now have pitch and mod wheel. And this is where I really want to get into giving Nord their flowers. Nord in 3 days' time has heard what we have said and has gone from here's the new Electro 7 to here's the new Electro 7 and actually we're going to change what we said. This is going to have pitch and mod on it. Within 2 days, it's going to be the NAMM show here in Los Angeles, and they're going to have to say, yeah, we got these floor models, and yes, this is the Electro, but keep in mind there's going to be actually pitch and mod wheels. We're adding those later. Those are coming out with it. Pre-orders have already started for this model, which means that they are already definitely making copies of this over in Sweden, which means right now they are drilling holes in the side of some of these to put in pitch and mod wheels. It's really impressive. It's really impressive to not only say we were wrong, but then to say we're gonna take all these moving gears and change them around to better facilitate what the consumer actually wants from us as a company. I mean, to say that's commendable is an understatement. That's like all any musician could ever ask for from a company. Thank you, Nord. I'm really serious. Thank you for doing that. That's amazing. I love Nord keyboards. I will always play Nord keyboards. And the more that they listen to their customers, the more none of us have a reason to go anywhere else. None of us. I mean, truly, I still think they make the best keyboards in the world. I do. So in my most popular video, I say you don't need a Stage 4. And I recommend you watch the whole video for full context because it's a little bit of a reductive title. But my real argument is most people I see playing a Nord are not utilizing the full capability of the Nord. I consider myself to be a bit of a power user of the Nord, which is to say if I'm making a patch, I'm generally using 3 of the synth banks, some with samples, some with synths. I'm utilizing 1 piano bank. I'm utilizing the B3 mapped to my volume pedal, which the volume pedal will also be mapped to cutoff filter. I'm doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, morphs and whatnot, and like, yeah, I don't think most people are doing that. I think most people are setting a piano sound on or a Rhodes sound and they just want a keyboard that feels really good and sounds really good. The fact of the matter is, I think for the average user, the Electro 7 actually does make sense now. Still is a premium keyboard, keep in mind. That whole class I used to talk about where it's like you own a studio, you just want an affordable Nord that does really good sounds at a good price. That board doesn't really exist anymore, but I would say look for a used 6 or look for a used Stage 3, especially the Stage 3 compacts you can find under $3,000. And that is a severely capable board, even more so than the Electro 7. This is a low-end, high-end keyboard. It's actually solid. This is a solid keyboard now that has the pitch and mod wheel, because again, it improves that synth section so much. The Nord Organ 3, I kind of brushed over this in the last video, but I've actually gone and watched videos of the Nord Organ 3 since I made that video. The Nord Organ 3 has improved on the brittleness that I was complaining about in the Electro 60. And actually that matters a lot because if it's that good in the Electro 7, you're getting the best B3 that they've ever put out. That also matters. That also matters. If you, at your maximum complexity, just need a piano that can do piano sounds, electric piano sounds, organ, maybe occasional synth or strings, the Electro is going to do you just fine. The problem is the Electro 6 was at $2,900 and the Electro 7 starts at $3,300. Given that gap of where they actually are priced at, I was not seeing a bump in quality or features to merit that price jump. However, with the addition of the synth section and the pitch and mod wheel, yeah, that is a bit of a reason to jump. And then you add in that Nord Organ 3, yeah, that's a bit of a reason to jump. There are a couple things that really actually do make sense about this keyboard. There's one more thing that I need to mention that I did not mention in the other video, and I absolutely need to mention here. The United States government has levied a system of tariffs upon literally everything that we buy. That includes this keyboard that is shipped in from Sweden. Many people who are in the EU have informed me that they have not seen nearly the same bump in price that we have seen here in the US, and a good amount of that price hike may indeed be due to the administration's tariffs. You know, I can't think of a single United States manufacturer of a keyboard workstation, so what kind of intellectual property they're trying to protect us from buying competitors overseas against, I'm not entirely sure. Yamaha's based in Japan, Roland's based in Japan, Nord's based in Sweden. Who's in America? Even if you say Hammond, it's Hammond Suzuki. That's based in Japan. So there's no American manufacturers of this kind of stuff. I think this administration would do well to take a basic economics course to understand what's actually manufactured in the country if even this jingoistic claim that they're making of protecting American imports and values or whatever the f they're saying is to hold true. It's a ridiculous notion when you don't even make the product, like the coffee tariffs that they've levied. We literally cannot grow coffee in our environment with the exception of Hawaii, and yet still we're going to tax all the coffee coming in. For what? We are living through the rise of something that is really, really frightening over here. And if you're watching from overseas thinking, I hope America gets their comeuppance, well, we are, and we're going to continue to get our comeuppance. You won't have to worry about that. But being on the ground here, it's both frightening and incredibly frustrating. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. So that's my thoughts. This keyboard is starting to make sense to me. This thing is effectively a mini Stage 4 at this juncture. The only things it doesn't include would be multiple synth engines, right? You have 3 banks, and with the Electro, you only have 1 bank. Multiple piano engines, you have 1 bank as opposed to 2 banks on the Stage 4. Multiple organ engines, same thing as the piano engines, 1 to 2. But you do have 2 knobs for all the effects now, and you have a lot more modularity. You can do some morphs with, for instance, cutoff filter and the expression pedal. That's not something I could ever do on the Electro 6. The new synth section is really the thing that has kind of come close to leveling these 2 machines. And again, I'm surprised they even put on a synth section. I would have thought the sample synth section would have been included again. And had the sample synth section been included again, and maybe been given a pitch and mod wheel, it would have still not felt like a massive upgrade. It would have felt just like okay, well, yeah, now we have pitch and mod wheel, but it's still like a very limited engine. But they've given us a synth engine, like a fully modifiable synth engine. I don't know, man. It is, I mean, they've kind of leveled the playing field a lot between their Stage 4 and their Electro series. When the Piano 6 cost $4,000 and the Nord Grand 2 cost $4,000, and the Nord HP76 with no pitch wheel cost $4,000, that HP76 made no sense. What is the upgrade factor to this, right? Especially when you can get the hammer action on the Piano 6, which is a better action. I haven't played the hammer portable, but let's be real, it's probably going to be a better action. Yeah, there was no reason to get the Nord Electro 7. But with the addition of the pitch and mod wheel, something not found on either of those two other keyboards, the Grand nor the Piano 6, you do start looking at this is a real feature that you could not get anywhere else except for the highest level instrument. It now punches at the same weight for $4,000 as the Piano 6 and the Grand 2. And then when you look at the unweighted key bed for $73, I mean, there's some value proposition there. So Nord, I really appreciate you. Thank you for doing this. I and the rest of the people that actually care about these instruments and make our living with these instruments just want to see these products improve and want to see these products become the best that they possibly can be. And already, I mean, my Nord Stage 4 is as close to a perfect machine for my needs as I have ever experienced in the marketplace. And I intend to use a Stage series for the next 20 to 30 to 40 years of my career. I really don't see that being knocked off by another manufacturer unless something goes drastically sideways. But much as in that Apple and Microsoft comparison, I want to see Nord continue to make streamlined choices for us that make sense. And adding this pitch and mod wheel just makes sense. It's a great decision. It should be widely celebrated, and people should give Nord their flowers for pausing 2 days before NAMM to announce a complete change to their brand new lineup that they've just announced. Thank you, Nord. That matters a lot. And like, good for you. Listening to customers is what brings customers back. And we often forget that in this time of private equity and strip mining everything for how much profit can we extract for the minimum expense. I love these keyboards that you guys have made, and I'm really happy that something does exist to say, with unlimited resources put towards making the best machine, what would we make? That's how we get Nord keyboards. The Electro 7 is starting to make sense to me. Granted, it's still expensive. There is no low-level alternative anymore. But at least if it's going to be expensive, it's a premium keyboard, and it feels like a premium keyboard. And you're getting access to the best pianos, literally of any keyboard in the world. So, my name is Andre Bernier, Andre Bernier Music on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. It's been so amazing to read all your comments in the video posted 3 days ago, and thank you. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.